Gerald. Welcome back to another Sensible Sundays. And with Sensible Sundays, what we're doing is we are um, empowering home sellers, home buyers, and investors to be well-informed consumers from the start of their real estate journey. And I have a very special guest on with me tonight, Mr. David Snell of Executive Restoration LLC. And he is the mold guy. Like, that is my mold guy. I've had on some of my other preferred vendors, but Dave is my number one go-to mold guy, and we have a lot of fun with this here mold topic. And I wanted to bring him on tonight to talk about mold. One of the things that I really want him to get to the heart of answering is really like, how do you vet a mold inspector? But first, Dave, can you like just tell us, a little bit about you, like how you became so passionate about mold? What made you decide to get into the industry?
It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. Gives me goosebumps. I'm so passionate about what I do. Praise God, praise God. But I started out in 1987 and cleaning carpet and cleaning furniture. And I started out with $300 to my name and went to Kmart one day, bought a machine for about $150 that you hook up to your kitchen sink. Okay. Voila, we've got water. So started cleaning carpet, cleaning furniture. And I got so many calls from people whose carpet got wet.
Okay.
So then I started sucking up the water, extracting the water, drying out people's carpet and pad. And the people who waited 24 to 48 hours to call me, I noticed the carpet and padding and things like that were starting to smell musty. So then I moved in, from the carpet and furniture cleaning to the water damage, and then from water damage into the mold arena. And mold is really my passion.
Okay. What makes you so passionate about mold? What is it about mold?
Well, number one, I had a good friend of mine who died. That's number one.
Okay.
And, people don't realize the dangers of mold exposure. They just don't realize it. They just say, well, Dave, I can't see my problem, so I guess I'm safe, right? And I'm like, wrong. So just remember, what you don't see can hurt you.
Okay.
So, there are just so many people out there, they don't know what they're breathing. And should they know what they're breathing? They should. But, we just all need to be informed and educated.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I am going to suggest to all my clients to get so let me ask you this. I am going to suggest for them to get the mold testing, because you have something that's very, very economical. It's like $99. But for if it's a new construction house, would you suggest mold testing or not really?
It doesn't make any difference whether it's a brand new home or it's a used home. You're spending money on an investment, and we need verification. Let's verify if we have a problem. Okay, if we don't have a problem, that's great. That's wonderful.
Right.
You're going to get peace of mind. That's number one. And number two, you're going to know beyond a shadow of a doubt if this is a good investment for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it makes sense to spend about $100 as opposed to spending hundreds of thousands of dollars only to find out you have a huge mold problem behind the walls.
Right. So what I tell people, so I've got a $99 special. And so say, for example, if you're in Japan, you're like, hey, Dave, I've got this area of concern. I'm just like, get a Q-tip, rub over the area in question, put it in a Ziploc bag, send it to me. I'll send it in for testing to the lab, lab testing, lab report, and then I'll go over your report with you for $99. Now, if you say, hey, Dave, I need you out to my house. If I come out to your house, the next tier is $299. That includes me coming out, taking two air samples or swabs or lift-off. A swab is like a Q-tip. A lift-off is like Scotch tape. So if I come out there myself, you're going to get a I'm going to do a visual inspection. You're going to get 2 samples. I'm going to express it to the lab testing, lab report, and then, of course, me going over your results from the lab as well.
That sounds wonderful. And you also have this thing that it's an infrared gun where you could see behind the walls.
It is infrared technology is very, very important. So if I do an infrared thermal scan of all your walls and ceilings, I'll know immediately what's going on.
Okay.
Does that come with the inspection? It does not come with the inspection. That's another level. So I have prices to meet people's needs.
Okay.
So we got 99 level, we got 299 level. So it just depends what you need, what you want. So we got a price to match everybody.
Plus, I always tell everybody I'm the human detector, because I really do believe I'm allergic to mold. I haven't gotten any testing or anything, but I can typically tell, like when I walk through the house, like my throat starts getting itchy or swollen or something.
Yes.
And I can also detect like a certain scent as well. So I call myself the human mold detector.
That is wonderful.
So I can kind of connect with you on the whole mold thing here.
Right. Not everybody has that gift.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. So as far as choosing, like if a home buyer wants to choose a mold inspector, what are some good ways to vet that mold inspector? Like, how do you know you're working with a really good mold inspector, someone that knows what they're doing? Are there certifications? Like, do you have to go to take a class or training or anything and get certified? How is it in that industry?
That is an excellent question, Des, and there's so many people who don't ask these questions up front. And one of the first questions you want to ask a mold inspector is, number one, are you certified? That's number one. Who are you certified with? Number two, how long have you been a mold inspector? Do you have references that I could call or email? Or do you have reviews that I could read about? Are you insured? Another question. The biggest thing is, how long have you been in business? That's very, very important. And ask very, very pointed questions. Hey, Dave, whatever your questions may be, ask questions, and they should be able to answer your questions very quickly if they really know their stuff. Mm-hmm. Another thing is when you get a certified mold inspector out there, if you want them to take care of the problem, that's great. But ask him or her who is taking care of the problem, and if their technicians are certified or if they're trained. There's so many companies, their technicians are not even certified or trained. Now, myself, I do all the work myself. I come out. If you have a problem, I'll take care of your problem. So, people ask me that all the time. I was just doing inspections, but I've had so many people who said, Dave, if I've got a problem, I need you to take care of the problem.
Wow, okay. So you're saying that there's a lot of mold inspectors that might come out and do the testing, but they don't actually do the work. You actually do the testing and the work.
I do. Well, I don't do the actual testing. Remember, I'm taking the samples,
right,
I'm sending the samples off to the lab for testing. So it's a third-party accredited lab. Okay. Now, and depending on their results, their test results, I'm able to make my recommendations as far as what needs to be done.
Okay.
And I want to give you an idea here. There was a realtor that called me up and she said, Dave, I've had 5 other companies tell me that this crawl space has mold in it. I was like, has anybody verified that you've had mold in your crawl space? She goes, no. They just all came out and they all said I had mold. I said, well, let's verify first if you got a mold issue. So we got the results back and it wasn't a mold issue. And she goes, oh my goodness. So verification is very important. Unless you just got money to spend, you got money to burn, and you got money to throw away. And if you do, that's definitely an option. But if you don't need to spend your money, or you don't need to spend money on something, I just tell people, verify. It's kind of like if you're told by one healthcare professional that you've got cancer, get a cup off. get a couple opinions.
Like second opinion.
Yeah, second, third opinions, because a lot of people are just out there to scare you. I don't want to scare anybody. I just want to educate others
and fix the problem. Yeah.
If we have problems.
Right.
So whether you have leaky gutters or whether you have an attic humidity level problem, or you have an HVAC unit that's leaking through ceilings, I tell people just be informed, be educated, and then take care of the source of the problem.
Right.
If you don't take care of the source or the problem, then your problem is going to keep coming back and coming back and coming back. So
I told a client that, a seller client that I had last year, it was like horrifying, because I'm like, I can only advise clients on what to do. I can't like force their hand on things, but I'm like, my God, if you could just get to the root of the issue so that it doesn't keep coming back.
Yes.
Because this is not something that you want to pass on to a buyer, by no means.
No.
I definitely don't want my name attached to something like that. We have to pass it on to a buyer. So I, really try to advise clients in that regards to make sure they deal with the root of the issue so it doesn't come back. That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of the, I would say, not scary, but I guess the worst case that you've seen in the years of you doing mold, and like how expensive does it really get?
Depends on what needs to be done. Sometimes some of the jobs I've seen, it just got so much water damage in the walls that, not only do the walls need to be dried out, but some of the walls, the sheetrock needs to be cut out and disposed of. And, but I mean, every job is different. And I always tell people, every job is different. No job is ever the same. And, I can come out there and do an assessment and see what's going on. And whether it's just one area of the house or whether it's the entire house. I want to give you an example. A general contractor calls me up and he says, "Hey, Dave." I was like, "Yeah." He said, "I've got mold throughout this whole house." I said, "How do you know?" He said, "Dave, because I just know." I said, "Okay, hold on. So you know." I said, "So let's verify what you know." He said, "Okay, let's do it." So I said to him, let's do a scan. Let's scan all your walls. Let's scan all the ceilings in the home. Beautiful home, beautiful. So he was already under the impression that he had to get the entire house. I said, "Let's save your money. Let's verify. Let's confirm what you suspect." So I did, and I found 2 or 3 areas in the entire home that were wet, that were water damaged, that we cut out, that the infrared scan, the thermal scan that I found in the walls and the ceilings, that we cut out and that we addressed, and we treated the areas, and he saved so much money. Can you imagine gutting an entire house, all the walls, all the ceilings?
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Okay, so not only do you have the demo, not only do you have the structural dry out and the treating, but you also have putting everything back together again.
Right.
So
wow. That would have been a lot of money.
Oh my goodness. So the homeowner, she drove up and she goes, "Oh my goodness, I was under the impression that we needed to gut the entire house." The general contractor was like, "Ma'am, that's why I called Dave. That's why I called Dave." So Dave says we don't need to gut the entire house. And she was like, "Oh my goodness, praise God." So she really did save a lot of money. So,
okay.
And it really, it's just, it's about being informed and being educated and, doing an assessment. And there's a number of tools that we need. So check the humidity of the home, the relative humidity, moisture level readings, that's penetrating with the probes that goes into the wall, into the ceiling, non-penetrating without the probes, infrared scan. There's so many different things that I can do. And as Martin Luther King used to always say, knowledge is power. my favorites. Knowledge is power. And I want to add something to what he used to say. And knowledge is power, but only if we apply that knowledge to what we're doing.
That's right.
Knowledge is power, but let's apply that knowledge in what we know.
That's right. You always got to take action. Faith without works is dead, right?
Yes.
Got to take action. Wow. So when it comes to taking those samples, if I'm going through a property with a home buyer, and does there have to be something visible where we actually see something or suspect there is mold, where we would take a sample? That's the point where we would take a sample, and not necessarily any other testing would be involved, right? Like, you can't take a sample if you don't see anything. Or am I right? Or
you can take a sample if you visually see something, like you see some kind of organic growth. You can get a Q-tip and you can swab the area. You can rub over the area, put it in a Ziploc bag, send it to me. That's $99.
But if you don't see anything visibly, you can't take a sample. So what do you do in that regard if you don't see anything, but you suspect that there's mold?
Right. You can take a sample, and what you can do is we can take air samples.
Oh, okay.
So I actually vacuum up the air, and send the air to the lab.
Gotcha.
So the 2 air samples is $299 for me to come out and take 2 air samples, send it to the lab testing, lab report. While I'm there, if people want me to take additional samples, they're $99 each. While I'm there, somebody says, "Well, Dave, I only want you to do 2 samples, and then I want you to come back at a later on date and do that for $99. I was like, no, that's not the way it rolls. Yeah. So if I'm already out there and they want me to do 2 samples, that's $299. Any additional sample while I'm there is $99. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Now, if somebody says, "Hey, Dave, I want to save a lot of money and I want to send you the sample with a Q-tip in a Ziploc bag," I'll send it off to the lab testing, lab report. Me going over the report with them, that's $99. It's all on my website. If you want to take a look at my website, executiverestoration.com or gotmold.wehavethecure.com. All the prices are on my website, so there's nothing hidden. I have no hidden agenda. Everything is spelled out.
And Dave is a great guy. He's excellent at what he does. I met Dave about 3 years ago. I was just searching online for a mold inspector because I saw something that looked like mold, and it smelled like mold to me. And I started to get the reaction that I normally do, so I suspected it was mold. And I contacted Dave, and we've been friends ever since. Good guy. He took care of the issue for my client, and whenever I have clients that I suspect anything going on, I always put them on to Dave. You do a great job, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, no problem. Is there anything else that you want to say before we go?
I do.
Anybody that might be watching?
Yeah. Even if you do have a problem, don't be scared. Don't let people spook you or terrify you just because you have a mold problem. I have never been to any home where the problem could not be addressed and taken care of. And sometimes it's just a minor issue. It's just a minor issue.
Yeah.
Other times where it may be something as simple as, like, somebody bought a house and there was an exhaust fan that wasn't hooked up. So all the humidity from the bathroom was going up into the crawl space. So not only do we have crawl space issues, not crawl space issues, but attic issues, but we also have humidity in the middle part of the house. So my point is, before you buy a house, all you want to do is be informed and be educated, because you're spending so much money on this house. And even if there is a problem, be like, okay, you can take care of this problem. You can have this problem taken care of. No reason to be scared.
Right. Yep. Well, thank you so much, Dave, for joining us on Sensible Sundays. Everyone, I hope it made some sense to you. And as always, I want you all to be inspired and then act on that inspiration. Bye. I'll see you next Sunday.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Daz.
You're welcome. And you know what? We're going to be on. Dave is going to join me on my Walkthrough Wednesday segment, and we're going to walk through a house. And we're going to kind of point out some key things to look out for when it comes to mold. So definitely, guys, stay tuned, subscribe, click the notification bell so that you can get those uploads when I upload that video or any of my other videos. All right. See you next Sunday. Bye.
Bye.